How you did it? Pretty good. I'm good.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
Doesn't it?
I'm making a spinach thing for
Oh, you
Thanksgiving.
are?
Yeah.
It was very good and well received.
Get you.
Yes, we have the mashed potatoes. The thing that wasn't
I might need to know. I thought maybe.
sweet. The thing that we that surprised us. We'll tell you more Friday.
Cereal.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's just like that. Is that actualized?
You know what I said today? I said, everybody needs to have.
Or not do that. Where are we gonna store that?
Like, maybe we need to like broadcast it, like. Sorry, I'm like taking my face.
Yes, girl.
I was up till midnight working.
Right, we'll ask that.
You ready? All right, you're on and recording.
Good evening, everybody, to those of you here in the audience and those of you at home. This is the November episode of the CROA Board of Directors meeting. Lauren, has this meeting been properly noticed?
It has been.
And we do have a quorum. Correct? Like everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I got the light thing to work.
Good.
I mean, I think it has to be on a certain angle, but if like you hit it when you're doing it, and then
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Calling this meeting to order at about 6:03. Okay, we've got several people in the audience. No one wants to say anything?
a couple of people do.
Okay. I don't know. Let's see.
Pick one.
Yeah,
He was
he
here-
just came
he was
in.
here first.
He has a name, Jay Moskowitz.
Great.
I was here. I
You're there first?
was on the list, on the
Yeah.
paper that was over there, so I don't know.
You didn't check that you wanted to talk.
I guess I did.
You didn't.
Oh, that might have been me.
On the old ship.
Oh, on the
The
field
hills.
space. Okay, come on and step up. Let us know your name, please, and your address and what you'd like to say.
Jay Moskowitz, 1007 Oak Pond Drive. Back in 2017, 2018, ended in 2018, we did a massive renovation on our house.
Mhm.
Went probably 6 months of architectural review with Jeffrey Moen. And we spent about $1.1 million with Cahill Homes and redid the home. It was a complete gut and we extended it to 2,000 square feet. And there were, so many things were done. Since then, I guess recently now, receiving letters all the time about things that aren't, I guess, approved or whatever. The house hasn't changed since 2018. Cameras, front light sconces, a basketball hoop, parking pad, a bush in front of our tankless hot water heater. And I've confined of some of it, added the bush, not changing the sconces because they were part of the renovation, not changing the parking pad because that was part of the renovation. We went so much back and forth with Jeffrey, it wasn't even funny. Okay, and wasted a lot of money, 6 months, probably lost tens of thousands of dollars then because the cost of materials started going up with aluminum and things even then. And so, now it's the security cameras around my house that have also been there since 2018 when it was finalized. When the town signed off on it, it all had to get signed off, had to go to the title company, everything had to go to the county and everything was done. So, and to constantly get these letters, from wherever they're coming from, Architectural Review or Grand Manor, saying, these things don't meet the requirements, it's ridiculous because they were done in 2018.
So what you're saying is back in 2018, you remodeled your home, you got ARC approval for anything that you changed at that time.
Everything was done through Cahill and ARC, yes.
Okay, and ARC, but now you're getting violation letters saying that these are unapproved changes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Lauren Manley, can you look into that for him? Because that should not be happening.
Okay.
I have a question though.
Go ahead.
When you mentioned Jeffrey Moen, was he your architect of record or was he representing ARC?
He's representing ARC.
Okay, well, if ARC approved it, then you should still be good and that should be a reference point.
Yeah,
That-
so
that-
Lauren's gonna check it out for
I
you.
mean, I don't know. I mean, so throughout the building process, there were changes, right? That got submitted back to ARC. I didn't go to those meetings, but Cahill went to those meetings or either talked to ARC, someone at ARC, or maybe talked to Jeffrey and talked to Bumbus because Bumbus was involved in the whole thing and they did the blueprints or whatever. And so things that were changed probably went back to ARC. I stayed out of it at that point once we were already broke ground and did everything. But now it's just getting, I mean, it's just nonstop. And then, to get a letter saying, okay, well, you're fined $100 a day to $5,000 for, each one of these items. It's ridiculous. The Bush was easy. I'm not taking down the security cameras no matter what, because they're no different from all these other crazy cameras that are going up on East Lawn or somewhere else. Because, if we're not going to, you're not going to deny somebody security for their home. Okay, and back in 2016, a bunch of teenagers came into our garage and harassed one of my kids. And so when we redid the house, they said, we're going to put all those, cameras in. They're not coming off. And they're done in the manner in which you guys wanted to. Someone says they have to be attached to a soffit. Cameras aren't attached to the soffit. They're right underneath the soffit.
Sir, your time is up. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
fine.
But
Right.
Lauren will be Lauren,
So kind of to resolve it or for what?
I see
Well-
your ARC applications right here. You've got my direct contact information right there. If you just want to shoot me an email, I'll verify with you in writing that.
Okay.
she's gonna cross-check the ARC application with the
Okay.
letters that you've been getting,
Okay.
just so we get everything taken care of. How's that?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Great.
Do I need to go to the ARC meeting tomorrow?
Well, you missed it. It was Monday.
Oh, this,
Oh, I thought it was
no.
tomorrow.
Did you get a letter about a
The
covenant?
covenants is tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, covenant meeting.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Do I need to go to that?
He's on what, shoot me an email or a text message on that number first thing in the morning and I'll respond to you and let you know that you're clear for not going to the meeting tomorrow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Okay,
This covenant.
sir, you want to come up and tell us your name and address and let us know what's on your mind?
I am James Graham. I live at 1850 Treasure Cove in Island Village. My concern I want to talk to you tonight is the gym, fitness gym. We have one built in Island Village. They have a certificate of occupation, but it seems like the last month or so, the board and the builder are hashing it out about you all accepting it. And I was asked how long it might take. And I've been informed that that's being hashed out in secret meetings. And I'm just wondering how long it's going to take to get that done.
Not a secret. Lauren, do you want to answer? Do you want me to?
I mean, we're in negotiations with Mattamy and Streetlights regarding the takeover. At this point, the board is making a decision about when is the correct time to take over the expense of running that amenity in regards to the revenue coming in from Island Village. So, I mean, it's still ongoing talks. There's been no agreement, but there's nothing preventing Mattamy or Streetlights from opening and operating that amenity center until such time as CROA takes it over.
Mr. Graham, did you understand her answer?
Yeah, I did. So I'm paying fees, but there's not enough of us there to pay for it now. So I get to pay fees for something I'm not receiving.
Well, but the last thing she said was, and it's important, is that Mattamy is paying for the electricity in that building and everything else associated with that building.
So, yeah,
If they could open it up to the folks that are living there. They could.
they say they claim it's your your position to take it over. And, see, this is everybody, somebody else. Meanwhile, there's a perfectly nice fitness center there, fully staffed, and I can't use it. And I need, one very badly, my disabled veteran, and I need the gym. Now, the one I understand, I just got a notice today, they're closing the other one to replace all the equipment in it. And it was closed for weeks, repainting it just last month. So I'm gonna be shut down again. I was told it's Friday's being shut down again for an unknown amount of time.
Yes, Spring Lake.
Yeah, it'll be shut down. Installation is probably gonna be done at noon, but for safety net purposes, it should be reopened at 5 p.m.
Again,
Friday.
oh, Friday. It'll be open this Friday.
When they painted it, they said it's gonna take 5 days. It took 3 or 4 weeks.
I think it was the storm, that with Ian and all that.
Yeah. So it'll be open, I'm sorry, but it'll be open again on Friday. And like I said, we're working on this.
When do you expect for you to take over the gym? Because that's the one I need. That's the one I'm
Do
paying
you have a
for.
projection?
I don't have a projection.
It just goes on and on and on.
There's nothing to stop Mattingly from opening. That's correct.
Why should Manatee open it?
They own
They own it.
They own it. We don't own it yet.
We haven't taken it over from the developer.
Yeah, the developer still owns it.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
Um,
You want to come
Put the
up so we can
microphone
hear
so
you?
it can be heard.
You don't mind.
Mr. Graham's chair.
I also live in Island Village, and Lauren's been very nice responding to my emails. I'm Jim Pennell. It's interesting because I've met with Maddie. They say it's the apartment builder's responsibility.
Yep.
And there's rumors the apartments, which are going to be opening January 1st, have promised all their people that the amenity center will be open. So there's a lot of confusion with the residents and a lot of frustration because we also hear that there's going to be, one of the reasons is about cost. I used to live in Spring Lake, right down from the fitness center. There was never any issue there about cost. So I think the residents are really just wanting to get some clarity and some transparency between Mattamy Homes and CROA. So we know exactly what the issue is. So we can go back to our residents and just let them know what's going on. That's all we're asking.
I understand. So the cost issue, okay? Obviously, everything's been paid for by somebody along with the developer, whoever. But there's not enough folks living in Island Village just yet to offset the cost of CROA taking over the property and paying for the electricity and the maintenance and staffing if we need it and all that stuff, and security.
Okay, but
Okay.
understand, again, people have been paying dues
Mhm.
since some 8-9 months,
Right.
right?
And you do know that you can use any of the other pools, and I'm not, being snotty or anything,
I
but,
know.
you know, they're available
I know
too.
Spring Lake is the only other fitness center.
No, the pools also.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, all
Right.
right.
But I'm with them with the fitness center.
Exactly.
So
Understood.
I had to stay in Delamar for 8 months until our house was built, but they got a very nice gym.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
A nice
so
pool.
I wish they would open it up to the rest of Celebration too, but they haven't. So anyway, that's all we're asking for is really some transparency. Because if it is, I'm sure the residents there will be happy to volunteer, put volunteer groups together to help as far as cleanliness and things like that.
Well, and again, there's nothing stopping Mattamy from opening both those facilities up to you because right now, they're the ones who own it.
I know, Mattamy not, I can
So
tell
they're
you,
the ones not being
Mattamy is
transparent.
not gonna open it.
Well, they're the ones not being transparent. We're trying to tell you as much as we can tell you.
Excuse me, but we're paying you
Right.
for the using it. Why? We're not paying Manatee, we're paying you.
The dues are for all of the amenities
I understand.
and the events, everything that is.
We're paying you, not Manatee.
Understand.
And the responsibility is yours to operate the gym, not Manatee.
And once we own it,
But the thing is, you won't take over ownership,
We don't know.
and yet you're still paying me. I'm still paying you for the use of that gym.
You're also paying us for the use of of Spring Lake, and if you want to go downtown and use the other pools, you're paying for.
I'm not using a pool. I'm using.
But in other words, you're still paying for it.
Mine, but I'm paying for this and I'm not getting what I'm paying for. And, you know,
Until CROA.
It's not managed.
Until CROA owns it.
I guess then in transparency, I don't know the exact amount of, I mean, the townhomes are mostly sold out. There's over 100 and something homes that are already residents in them. So how many more have to be there? Is there a special number that has to be?
There is a projected number, but I don't think that discussing.
This is all part of our executive.
This is part of your executive
Correct.
discussions and
Litigation.
sessions. So
because if you need a large number, that's going to require this 300 apartments to be full.
No, the apartments are totally separate.
Yeah, they're not.
It'd be
they're
just
not
the
big.
townhomes
And
and
the private home.
and the private.
we've hit our 3 minutes for both of these
Okay.
speakers, so
Thank
it's
you.
kind of move on.
Thank you.
A separate point of information. I choose to pay $40 or $45 a month at the Celebration Health, at the Advent Health Hospital. There's a beautiful gym there. It's relatively unpopulated. And I choose to go there because I have a NEV and I can't drive to Spring Lake because it's against the law. And it's more convenient. So I will pay that. And it's marvelous. So just an FYI, it's not a CROA facility. I pay separate. So there is,
One of the main reasons I picked where I live, because it's a block away from.
Right.
The fitness.
and that will
facility.
come. That will come.
And Natalie said it'll be open Friday evening, so
Not
Spring
that,
Lake.
that's Spring Lake.
on Spring Lakes.
I still have to drive.
Yeah.
Understand.
I think it's time to move on if there's any
Yes.
other comments.
Okay. Anybody else? Comment? No? Okay.
Anything online?
Anybody online would like to say a few words?
There are no hands raised online.
Okay. All righty, so. All the comments is done. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Do we have a second?
I'm second.
Any discussion, changes, questions? Take something off, put something on? Nothing? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we're good. Agenda's set. Next is the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 26th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
There was a recent amendment between the publishing of the packet and this evening. You all have a physical copy of that. Once that's approved, it will be shared with the community.
Second.
Second by Jim. Any discussion? You notice anything else that needs to be tweaked?
No.
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any opposed? So that motion passes. We don't have financials today, but Lauren, do you have something else queued up for us?
Bill was going to talk about insurance numbers for 2023.
Okay. Mr. Grindle, take it away.
Thank you. Insurance. An exciting prospect. So in the board package, there's a brief memo and the spreadsheets in.
No, it's not.
Line with it. The spreadsheet is not, the one that we were working with initially was a projection. Having had calls with our broker,
Lou Byron.
Lou Byron. Most of our numbers are locked in at this point because they all have to renew by, all our policies renew in December 6th. There's 14 separate policies for combinations of cyber, liability issues, auto, so on and so forth. We projected and put in a number in the budget of 300,000 because we were estimating it at the time. Now that we're close to final numbers across the board, the number is going to be closer to $260,000. So,
That's a yay.
however, there's a lot of caveats there, and there were some discussions about, well, what if we were to change the deductible? You know, like you get auto insurance and yeah, I'll take a higher deductible.
Right.
It's really not going to work well. There's a sweet spot where, and I put it in the memo, is that, for instance, in the example we had was off we increased our deductible by 25,000, but we only saved 3,000 in premium.
Right.
So it's not really going to get us much. We're paying, we have less coverage for a little bit of a savings. The reason for the increases are the ongoing, and if everybody's following it, disasters, Florida insurances in general for property. We've also are picking up imputed cost rises for hurricanes. Now, we're lucky on that because as the insurers sort out the last two hurricanes, there's going to be increased fees going out, but they won't have it all figured out for next year. So the fact that we're locking in a 2023 now gives us a little bit of a break, but we can expect a big increase next year. Surprisingly to me, because I know a little bit about insurance from previous efforts in my work background. The umbrella policies, which almost never change, and just briefly, you have a policy, and then you pay rather a modest amount of money for policy on top of the policy. Those are going up too because of all the litigation that's going on with insurance attorneys. But the litigation is basically piercing everybody's insurances and their umbrellas. So the umbrella has gone up a little bit. But overall, I think we got out of this fairly well. Next year could be 35% jump. And of course, these insurances, I'm speaking of broad numbers, not all insurances went up as much as others because there's very little change in some and dramatic changes in others, like workers' compensation, modest change. Liquor liability, we're going up $10. But others have gone up substantially, such as property, as we would expect, general liability, and so on. So the conclusion is that we're going to come in under budget financially for the moment
That's good, right?
on the plug number, yeah. So
Excellent.
Lauren, I have a question about that. Are we gonna work that back into the budget and adjust the homeowner dues based on that?
Not unless the board takes an action to
Yeah.
do so.
Because, yeah, there's, the thing about having a budget is, you plan for whatever, and then in this case, that's great. But that $40,000 savings is probably going to help us when we have to get a new landscaper or something, so that, it's good to have that rather than,
right, I agree. We will certainly exceed budget line item in something,
Mhm.
and 40,000 is not a lot in a $8 million budget, so it's nice to know we have it, but we don't need to
Yep.
To give it back at this point.
Thanks, Bill. Anything else? Mr. Treasurer? Anybody? All righty. So thank you for that. Now we're going to move into the action items. We have 4 items on the consent agenda, which means that we've already reviewed it, but we really don't have any questions about them. So is there anybody who would make a motion that we approve those, all 4?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second, because
Any discussion about any of them? Just quick. Anybody have it? No?
All basically due to Hurricane
Absolutely.
Ian.
Mhm. Yeah. All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
David, second that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Moving on. Now, the next set of action items, you're probably going to hear some discussion on most or all of them. So the first one is the CCS, which is Celebration Community Service, to reimburse CROA, the CROA's operating fund, in the amount of $4,591.79 for Falltoberfest. We have a motion.
I'll move.
second,
That's David and Bill. Discussion?
What's this for?
So as many of you are aware, CCS exists to assist in funding of events that are a benefit to community-wide and not just CROA residents. as Falltoberfest was opened up to non-residents. And we did have quite a few non-resident attendees. We took the net expenditures times the percentage of attendees who were non-residents and said, so this is the percentage of the external
That would be
population that benefited from this event. So we felt that that would be the appropriate reimbursement amount from CCS to CROA. This will, of course, have to be ratified by CCS at their upcoming meeting, but this is CROA recommending that.
So this is our recommendation to them and they separately have to approve, which happens to be the same board.
Yes. That next meeting for CCS is
December 16th.
Okay. So that'll happen.
So we're putting money back into CROA fund
Correct.
for our residents.
Yes.
Okay.
But was this in the original CCS budget for this year? No. No, it was not.
There was
There is no planned expenditures to my knowledge on CCS.
There should be, because Posh Pooch falls under there, right?
Yeah, but I'm not aware of a
I don't think we
planned
do.
budget that was passed by CCS for this year.
We have funding and new funding every year, but I don't think we've.
Right, we never
allocated.
discussed anything of the budget.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So so a number is arrived at to fund CCS, but it's based on,
I can't speak to that. The CCS,
It's a separate.
as it was done prior to us coming on.
I'm
This
pretty sure.
is why we're doing the CCS meeting next month, so you can approve a budget moving forward for next year, so we don't have this issue moving
Gotcha.
forward.
All righty. Any other discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Please opposed? Moving on. Rental of a tent for the father-daughter dance.
So
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
As we've done in prior years, we're looking to rent a tent for the father-daughter dance. This year, we shared the cost with the foundation because they held one of their concerts the same weekend, so we were able to split it. We have an agreement with the foundation to do that for next year, so we will be splitting the cost. The budgeted amount for CROA for this event for a tent rental is $12,500. After splitting the cost with the foundation, we'll only be paying $7,275 and some change. So
This is probably a question that nobody knows the answer to, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. We used to have father-daughter, once we outgrew this building, we used to have the father-daughter dance at the grade school here. I don't remember why we stopped doing that. I don't suppose.
I have to ask, I know I've talked to Nikki about that before, but
You know?
Yeah.
Could you fill us in?
Yes,
But you look so nice.
And I'm only gonna say, because.
don't comment on the glitter. Do not comment on the glitter.
Do I see glitter?
Yes, you do. Sorry about that. The reason we stopped, number one, was we outgrew it. And
Oh, you
the other
did? The gym
reason,
too?
the other reason is that you could not make that look good.
Okay, gotcha.
And even the outside of so we were trying to do so much with decorating on the outside just to make it look good to walk in.
Mhm.
And there were sprinklers broken and we could never get anything done.
Gotcha.
So when we moved it out there, it just seemed like and number one, the first reason that we brought it out there was right after COVID. We could not have an indoor event. So
Right.
it was decided that we would do a tent, and we didn't have a lot the first year, but then the second year we did. So, yeah, and we can,
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
and we can get more people. If you remember, we always used to have a limited number of
Right.
people.
Right.
Yep,
And
and it
we
would
would
spell
get
out like,
phone
boom.
calls saying,
Yep.
please, 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 I have 15 children,
Yeah.
or something. So this way, it's unlimited, basically.
Great,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can you clarify, no, not you.
Yeah.
Lauren, from the budget perspective, I know that many of these events are really, if you will, to CROA's budget, they're really
Neutral.
revenue neutral. Is that the case with this?
this isn't fully revenue neutral, but it's not we do make money, so we're a net negative, but not fully negative.
So,
We don't recoup all costs.
so in fact, this $7,200 that we might approve tonight is, I don't want to say it's a loan, but we have to put the money
It will
out so that money
It will
can
be
come.
somewhat offset
It will
by,
be somewhat offset. Okay. That was
And,
my
and they
question.
put, part of their budget includes
Right.
the whole, so.
No,
you know,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it's not like this is an outlay from all of Celebration, all of CROA residents to pay for this, even though
Right.
a limited number choose to go.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Opposed?
Okay, next.
Can we bundle 3 and 4? Because they're hand in hand.
Would you like to make
I'd like to make the motion to approve the purchase of new chairs for events and new tables for events, 2 different vendors. The first is $16,817. The second one, which is for tables, is $17,569. And those are replacement, the details are in here, 2 different vendors, replacement. So that's the motion that we would approve that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
All
I-
right, so
I have 2 parts of the discussion. One is this is woefully needed and way overdue. And second, has nothing to do with this, but it has to do with chairs in this room and other rooms. I hope that that will be coming soon.
We have the estimate.
look, I got the model right here.
But just this, I got excited to see this on the agenda, and then I read the documentation. Oh, it's the outdoor facilities, not the indoor, which I don't know that there's a chair in the room that doesn't have damaged fronts.
It will be in our December,
Are
Thank
these
you.
original chairs?
I believe so.
Well, I mean, and they've lasted a
No.
long time.
These?
Yeah.
No, they're about, I want to say that they're about 12 or 15 years old
Yeah.
somewhere, but they've exceeded their life expectancy.
They're very solid chairs. The other ones, the outdoor ones have become some safety risks.
yes, they have it,
And we're ordering more than we have right now.
yes.
Is the quantity?
Because we have increased attendance at our events, so we need to accommodate for that.
Has the special events committee weighed in on the quantity and shape and size on these?
No,
I was just gonna ask you how many are,
475 green chairs and 175 tables.
But they're not gonna be playing the chairs, correct? Oh,
Yeah, Nikki requested the green ones because they stay cleaner.
I thought it said that they couldn't get green.
No, there were 2 vendors they
Oh,
looked at.
okay. Is that good, Deb?
I wonder if we
we
need,
can kick it to special events with a.
I would love to
tentative
move this forward as quickly as possible, but I would love to have the input. So pending special events committees approval or endorsement or modification.
Do we have the chair from special events come up and talk about the need for this?
Well,
I know
no, the
where-
need is documented. I don't think there's a question.
They
about
agree
it.
that
The question is that enough?
Is
Is that
that
enough?
specific?
are we going to hold on to the ones that we have?
Yes.
Yes,
The decent shape.
Or at least the ones that aren't
Yes.
totally,
Correct.
Okay, so here's my question.
I think we need to listen to the special events committee.
Okay. So here's my question. How much does it cost us now to, well, series of questions. How much does it cost us right now to rent the extra chairs that we need for events? Because, I mean, just number.
we don't rent
Well,
the chairs.
How much does it cost to rent the chairs for?
We just did. What was the last one?
Do you remember this?
We're renting chairs for the holiday concert
Yeah.
and the cost was just under $800 for about 100 and some chairs.
Usually they run about $12 to $14 a chair.
Okay, so that was $800 for how many chairs, Liz?
Just over 100. Yeah.
And then with these additional chairs, are we gonna need additional storage space? If we buy them? I mean, where are you gonna store them? A lot of chairs.
We can accommodate the storage.
So you don't have, there's no extra expense to go along with that?
No.
Okay. All right, so we want to get the input from the special events committee to see if that's enough.
I don't know, I'm the board liaison to special events.
Mhm.
We do discuss the need for chair and lid.
No, but I mean, is this going to be
It's a
enough?
matter of
Let's talk-
quantity and
Let's
these are
talk
all
for Liz.
rectangular. Do we need some round ones too? I mean, I would just, I would like to get this
How
approved.
about we do tentative approval based on input from the special events committee at their next meeting?
Yes, but not to delay this. I mean, just make sure that they have the opportunity as a group to weigh in and not to put Debbie on the spot.
And then,
I'm not trying to put it on the spot, I'm just saying, we do, like Liz is the one that is renting chairs for all of these events that are coming up, so she knows the need for it.
so what if, once they look at it, if the cost, maybe they want some round tables, and maybe those are a little bit more. Do we want to put a window in
I put
for
a
this?
window in, I put a window in,
For an
another
extra-
another 25% if as needed,
Is that good?
just so that we move this.
Speaking of moving, can you change your motion? Change the second.
I'll change the motion to, thank you, to
Yeah,
add another, give a window or a buffer of another 25%.
additional budget.
Above.
Combined cost.
With a window of 25% overage on purchasing cost with the approval of the special events committee.
That's correct.
Perfect. So
And
that's,
whoever seconded. the-
David.
Yeah, no, I amended the second.
Thank you,
David
Jim.
and
Thank you
Jim.
for the reminder, Jim.
okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
Good.
very good. Debbie, are you smiling? Yeah.
Yes.
I knew you'd be happy.
Okay, motion to approve, some contracts for partners. Do I have a motion to approve ballroom dance, Zumba, and farmers market?
So moves.
Second,
Second,
all right, anybody have anything to ask, discuss?
These contractors extensions have been recommended by the Parks and Rec.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay. Motion passes. Number 6. This looks familiar. Highland Village Townhome Building 7, 8, and 9. Do I have a motion to accept them?
I'll move for discussion.
second for discussion.
We have some discussion.
Sure.
Madam Executive Director.
We've gone out a number of times to look at these buildings. I was out there yesterday and I was out there this morning at 10 a.m. They look, they've passed inspection. They look acceptable. These three buildings.
Are these the buildings that we had pictures of last meeting?
Yes,
That the guy from Academy?
they have remedied,
And
They
these,
remedied the mold?
they've
or the wood
remedied,
rot?
they've remedied the issues that were pointed out in the last meeting. And they.
which was done by an
Yes.
external professional inspector.
Correct.
These are the same buildings that came to this board last December for approval.
Correct.
Mhm.
And so and just to be clear, we have Island Village residents here. That's a separate relationship with Mattamy. These three buildings, these townhomes are the start of a service area. The Island Village service area, which is for townhomes and other townhomes as they come online, become part of that same service area. That once we accept them, one townhome unit at a time, this is 3 buildings, then they become ours to maintain.
Correct.
So right now, the people who live there are paying the CROA assessment, just as you folks are, that are single-family homeowners. But the service area fee is going to Mattamy because Mattamy is still responsible for maintaining the outside of the building, the roof, and whatever
And then
falls
we
under
take that
the
over.
thing.
We
Once we take it over, then those monies come to CROA and we take over the maintenance of them. So just
But we have to make sure that
Goes into the service area
Area,
separate.
exactly.
their budget.
Yeah.
It's a separate budget for them.
Every service area.
And that's, yeah. And so we made very clear last meeting with the photographs based on that latest inspection, that there were some things that were quite egregious that we are not ready to take over.
And they have been.
And they have been corrected, and so now we can take them over.
I can't help waiting. It
Call the
seems like, well, I'm waiting for another shoe to fall. No,
That's right.
everything's good.
On these
Okay.
three
And it's
buildings,
We
we
are
are
good.
good. We are okay.
Call the
Hallelujah.
question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
I'd like to bundle the next two because they're similar in content and process. One is the motion to approve the 2023 lifelong contract as recommended by the Recreation Committee, and the other is the 2023 Thriving in Place contract. It's recommended by the Recreation Committee, and the reason for bundling them is they're both our relationship with the Celebration Foundation.
I'll make a motion.
I made the motion.
Dave made a motion, Celia,
Okay, I'll second, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Okay, any other discussion?
Couple discussion items. One is the materials referenced last year's contract, which was amended on site. And that was not attached. So what I want to verify is what we had in last year's contract that we amended was not charging. There was because of the unique relationship and the important relationship of the Celebration Foundation as one of the founding groups in Celebration, one of the three core groups. We have a special relationship. It is not a partner program, it's a partnership. And for at least for the lifelong program, but with the foundation as a whole, it's a partnership. And so we had a different financial agreement.
Correct.
And I want to make sure that that is memorialized and not lost in what was brought before the board, but was amended on site.
Correct. The amendment with the not charging the rental fee is the
Right.
one that.
And I just want to make crystal clear that that continues.
That's
Is
an
that
important
the, is
distinction.
that
That's an
the
important distinction.
referenced other contract?
Yes.
So when, after all is said and done, since we have the board packet publicized, will those get inserted in a revised board packet, or how does that get? Because it was referenced in the materials, but it wasn't there. How can we make sure that that's there? I think that would be helpful, just so that we have that officially done. But I think this is an important partnership. And that financial piece means a lot to a group that raises all of their funding.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, terrific. All right, the next one has to do with our accountants. I would like to make the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So to date, we still have not received our audit from our current audit provider. About a month or so ago, the finance committee had requested that we look for a new firm to provide that service for us. We requested bids. One company did not respond, said they could not serve our needs because of the size of our association. The other response was almost double what you're currently paying. This response is pretty much right in line with what you're currently paying. This response also handles Point Siena, which is another large association, and they come with good references from both there and a couple of the other associations that they serve. They presented to the finance committee. The finance committee asked a series of questions over about 30-45 minutes. And I think the recommendation is that we switch audit providers moving forward for 2023.
I was concerned when I saw this at first because several years ago, the board just doing due diligence made the decision to switch accounts, and it turned out to be a disaster. But I also know that the current account has had some issues. There's a tragedy, and then I thought they were in the process of merging with someone. Maybe that didn't go through, or who knows? But the fact that we still haven't gotten our taxes or audits or anything?
We also provided this group with our financials, so they would have an idea of what they're looking at and looking into. They say that they are more than up to the task, and a named partner would be the lead on our account, along with other lead partners in the firm, so.
So is the company that hasn't sent us our information, have they been paid anything?
No.
So what's the status?
I mean, we bother them regularly for a status. They continue to come back with additional questions.
So I guess we're held by the letter of engagement that we signed way back when with them, right? So it's not like we can say,
At this point, it's too late to switch to somebody for this year. We need to finish out with this group, but we need to do something moving forward because the service provided by this group has just continued to decline based on my understanding from the knowledge that's been shared with me.
because I know they've been, in the past, they've been late, they file for extensions but usually by, July, August, everything's all wrapped up for all four entities. And I'm assuming that this change is going to be made for all four
Across the
entities.
board.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor of going with this new firm? Say aye.
Hi.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Next one. Lot D 90% drawings. That's our pickle group.
A technical
Pickleball.
question, does it help to bundle this one with the following one?
I would disagree.
You disagree? Okay, that's
They're
fine.
very separate.
That's fine.
So, do I have a motion?
I would love to make this motion.
Okay. Anybody love to make a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do you love it?
I love it.
Okay. Discussion.
Yeah, I've been working with the pickleball SME group as well as with KPMF and TCC on these drawings. There are a couple of pending questions from the pickleball group, one of which I just got a response from this afternoon that I will share with them about changing the power pedestals, which will be able to do and will actually be a cost saver.
Power.
Power pedestals.
What did they?
So it's basically a stand in the middle of the courts next to the benches where you can plug in and there's lights.
Oh,
in there.
power.
Power pedestal.
Like a,
I thought it had to do with the power charge or something.
yeah,
Charge your phone.
Think of it like at the airports.
An outlet.
An outlet.
Oh, there you go, an outlet.
Fancy outlet.
Fancy outlet.
Now we're just
Stands
switching,
out.
now we're just switching to regular outlets that'll be along with the shade structures. The shade structure height is still a question, but other than that, everything else is in line with what the pickleball SME group has recommended and all.
What could the issue be with the height of a shade thing?
Pardon?
What could the issue be with the height of the shade structure?
It's the shadow that it may or may not cast on the courts.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Just, is there a process when the bids come in, if they're excessive to, where does it lie to discuss whether there's any savings to be made?
I think that would be part of the owner's rep and the RFP management piece that's next in your board packet. That firm will assist in those discussions.
It's not explicit to me that that's their responsibility.
So when it comes back, when you get bids back from construction companies, you guys will have to review them and say, no, that's not acceptable. You should be getting a la carte pricing for each one. That's how it's been discussed with KPMF and this group that was the recommended vendor. So before you even accept bids, you can have further discussion about costs.
And just as a side, I think the detail that KPM Franklin gave us is very, very good.
It's very good or not good?
It's very good.
Very, very good. Giving us an awful lot of stuff.
Can you remind us or update us with what should this be approved tonight, then what? over the next weeks and months?
Should this be approved tonight, you're still waiting on approvals from Reedy Creek and from Osceola County. So once those approvals are done, while those approvals are being done, we'll get a meeting together with KPMF, the pickleball SME group, and if you approve this upcoming group as the owner's rep and RFP management team, we'll get all of those groups together and make sure everybody's on the same page moving forward. The RFP will be written and ready to go and then approved by the board to go out. Then you will start getting in bids. Usually a 30 to 60-day window for bids, and then you'll pick an apparent successful vendor and move forward.
So that first group, while you're waiting for Reedy Creek and Osceola County and getting that group together, and then that comes, you're saying getting the RFP ready to go out. What would the timeline be for that? Would that be for our December board meeting?
That is my goal.
That would be the goal of the December board meeting. And then then it's approved, theoretically gets approved, goes out 30, 60 days. After that is when, and you can specify that in the RFP, what the timeline you would want. And so then that would be board approval, potentially January, but more likely February. Okay.
So they would do everything up to the point of starting construction. If, Osceola dragged their feet or. Yeah, okay. And then we'd be good to go. Okay, all right.
So, what month are you, projecting that we would vote on this as a board?
On
On the actual.
the actual construction
Yeah, on the
vendor,
construction vendor, yeah.
probably around February.
Any other questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, KPMF. 90%. Next is the hand-in-hand piece with that is Taylor Group being our representative and RFP manager. You want to make a motion? Nobody's excited.
Motion for discussion.
Yes.
Second.
Great. Okay. Not getting the excitement.
Wait, it's early.
Oh, okay. Discussion?
Yes. For those unfamiliar with the process, we're paying a third party to oversee the actual construction process, which is a recommended way of doing business. That means that we have somebody being our eyes and ears, somebody who's qualified to do that kind of work and do construction oversight and management. So they're like the interface between the contractor, the design people, the engineers, to make sure we get what we contract for. And they do a lot of due diligence work along the way. My particular two concerns is one is their actual scope. I'm not clear that it mentions that they're going to be doing what's now polite called value engineering, as when when you're trying to sharpen your pencil, save a couple of bucks. And the other one is I don't see that they're doing called draw requests. As a contractor comes in month one, at the end of the month, he's going to put in an invoice and he's going to say, I did 30% of this, 20% of that. So, so on and so forth, line by line, item by item. And then somebody has to approve that and he gets paid. Generally, the owner's rep would review that because I've served in this capacity personally. Mostly I prefer to contract for it. But you get there and it says, well, I put in 100% of this or 50% of that. And you say, no, I looked at it. I walked the building. You've only got 30% of the drywall in, and I reject that portion of your invoice. And we need somebody looking at that. Otherwise, it's very easy to get ahead, paying ahead of where you actually have received. And I'd like some clarity in their RFP for that. The other one is a little more awkward, and it's a little unexpected. But when you go to pages, if you're looking at the whole board package, going to pages 85, 86, and 87, these are the architecturals.
Page of the agreement.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the drawings.
These are under B10.
I'm the,
Oh, you're back to KPF now?
yeah, I'm looking at their drawings. And this is the awkward bit, because Calic Group has approved some of these drawings. They've approved the architecture. So, I mean, this makes, it implies it's potential for conflict there. Now they're going to be monitoring a contract and scope that they've opined on. And because they signed the document, I mean, they signed those particular drawings, their names on it. So I'm not sure if that's an issue. But it certainly raises a flag to me that this is a potential issue with those particular guys. And maybe there's a way they can word the contract.
So how do we get the name of this company, Calico?
I highly recommend. I mean, they got great credentials.
They do a lot of work for Disney. KPMF recommended them as one group that they've worked with previously and have a good work relationship with.
Well, wouldn't they want to see what the plans were before they
Well, there's a
bid
difference.
on it?
Well, maybe they would, but their name is on the plan, so they're a signatory to the plan.
Did they create it? They helped create the plan? Is that-
No, well, I'm looking, they signed a review, 10/31/22. So they have looked at things that they're now going to monitor. And that to me means that there's a little confusion here as to just how third party they really are.
Like a conflict of interest type thing.
I was trying not to say that, but yes, this potential, certainly perception, at least to me, that I perceive.
I mean, my understanding is KPMF used them in the advisory capacity in terms of the architectural piece of this.
And that's probably, and that could be, but it needs to be addressed contractually.
Maybe perhaps with at least different personnel working on this. That
I would like something better in writing. Yeah. Hand up in the back.
So something in writing saying exactly what?
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know what. This is a contract attorney question.
Ah.
I mean, I can make some guesses, but I'm not the contract attorney.
maybe there's a person in the.
Thank you, Cindy. Dave Eastman, 1109 Blaze Street.
Dave, I don't have my distance glasses.
Bill, I don't know the answer to this specifically, but, and maybe Mike can help me. But KPM Franklin is not going to be our builder, that I don't think Kalick Group is going to be monitoring what KPM Franklin goes forward and does. I think Kalick Group is going to be monitoring the RPF process to get the bids out and then monitor the owner's rep portion of whoever we hire, if it goes that direction, to do the contract, to do the build. So I'm not sure there's a conflict of interest with KPM and Kalick. And maybe Lauren can better explain that, but that's my understanding why I don't think there's that conflict. Maybe you've got a better idea on that.
Well, their scope has them doing change requests. And all the change requests and things come from the contractor, go to the architect, so they could find themselves in a position of doing a change order on something they've already signed off on a drawing. No.
All change requests would come to
Kalick.
Kalick, but then final approval would come here for those change requests.
Right. This may be a perception thing, but I've never seen this come up before. And to me, it's a red flag that we need to address somehow. I'm not kicking them to the curb, but
Right.
but it just needs to be figured out.
Does that need to go to the lawyer?
I mean, I don't necessarily see it as a conflict, but
Thank you.
I'm certainly think that we can have language in the contract that Tom can craft to address the concern.
Is that fine? Is that okay with everybody? We have,
Otherwise,
get some
Yeah.
the scope
clarification.
is good, the concept is good, the price is good.
Would there be a problem if we push this to December meeting to finalize?
We will postpone everything.
Everything for about a month.
Okay.
That'll postpone everything.
And the holidays, yada, yada, it'll even.
Thank you.
So then you want to table this then until,
Now,
No,
No,
so we're going to go forward with this?
and have
But after-
Tom check the legal wording and everything.
So we're having Tom review the contract, the wording, to cover what Bill perceives as an issue, make sure there's a caveat in there, and then we're good to go with that. Is that it? Okay. So we don't have to approve it again? Okay. Okay.
But I hope that all of that can be resolved soon so that that process that we talked about 10 minutes ago, that we can bring to the board in December, the approval of the RFP process.
So we've got a motion from Bill and a second from Jim. Any other discussion?
Are we amending it in any way from the original? Are we amending it to that, or that's just direction to management?
Just board
Direction.
directive. I think it's board direction. I don't think we need to amend it.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. The investment recommendation from the finance committee is next. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Did we have a second?
Yes, give me a second. So, Scoop?
All right, at the last finance committee meeting in October, they discussed investing available funds to achieve a bigger return that you're currently receiving. Two members of the finance committee were tasked with working with management and the financial institutions to recommend an initial short-term investment plan until a longer-term investment plan could be fleshed out more fully by the finance committee. The finance committee voted to recommend to the CROA board the attached recommendation for short-term investment.
When I read that, it made a lot of sense. And I would just ask management, both from your experience, does this seem prudent? I mean, it made sense to me and seems easily approved and the right thing to do without jeopardizing any of our assets. But I just would seek your counsel on that.
Has Don seen this?
Yes. Well, these are all safe.
Right, but just,
Safe investments. It's a good idea that you stagger them like this.
Right.
My question would be, is the assumption that after this 6-month one, then it'll roll to another 6 months. So you always have something maturing every 6 months. Yes.
assuming that
I'm
the
trying to
rates,
avoid technical.
assuming that the rates are not what they were 2 years ago, which was basically zero.
If the market changes, we do something different.
Yeah, so, and but I'm thankful to the finance committee for this insight and ways of saving CROA dollars. But in terms of your experience,
Also be making CROA dollars.
Making.
no, making,
So then are the rest of the monies in just plain demand accounts, or do we have a couple CDs sitting around, or?
Earning 0.02 or something like that.
Which, and this is,
your head nods mean.
Absolutely, I'm in agreement.
yeah, this is an interim because members of the committee feel that they can come up with something a little bit more sophisticated. But rather than spend the time doing that, we might as well start making money.
Oh, yeah.
Start making money, well, we can figure out ways to make it.
Yes, yep. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good job, finance committee and brand managers. Okay, next has to do with the hours at town hall.
Motion. I'll make the motion to close the town hall front counter on Saturdays and extend business hours on Tuesday and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7:30.
I'll second. Okay, so there's limited foot traffic here on Saturdays, and for very limited services. And since foot traffic is higher in the building on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, as you can hear now, there's frequently committee meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. And we want to be cognizant of people who work the standard work week, but still need to conduct business with town hall. We're recommending just adjusting hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So instead of being open till 5:30, we'll be open till 7 o'clock on those days. And then closing just the front counter at town hall on Saturdays. But it's still open for partner programs and other rentals and things like that.
So are these part-time people that will be manning or? full-time
No, it's
people?
our existing staff.
So,
Right now, we have staff that works Tuesday through Saturday. So one of our front counter ladies works Tuesday through Saturday, and one of them works Monday through Friday. They will both work Monday through Friday, but one of them will have an adjusted shift to start later on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
gotcha.
This also helps out with our Monday front counter rush that is now only handled by one staff member. And then we end up pulling other staff members from the back to help out in the Monday rush.
I understand how this is fiscally a good idea. I just think we already took away Sunday from people. Families may not have the opportunity to come in on the evenings during the week. So my preference would be to keep the hours, but that's what people.
Well, but how many people actually come? It seems like those reports you're giving us like 5.
13 is the average.
I mean-
That's from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock? 10 to 5?
Oh, so it's open 10 to 5? I thought it was
Yeah,
open
and
4
13 people.
I'm open to reducing hours on the weekend, but I don't think it's a good idea to not give that opportunity to our members to come in and make changes on the weekend.
Anybody have any comment?
What I appreciate is management coming forward with a recommendation to best use the assets of the personnel assets. And I think it'll be interesting to track, the attendance 5:30, 7:30 or 5:30, 7 PM on 2 nights. Which for those who can't make it 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, there's evening. So we track that and monitor that. So, but I appreciate your initiating that rather than the board asking for, hey, could you assess this? So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Anybody else? And if we do vote on this, and if we get a significant number of people complaining, there's nothing to say we can't go
Right,
back or
exactly.
once a month be open on this, or, I mean, we can do.
Yeah, the first Saturday of the month or something.
Exactly. Okay, so right now we have a motion to change the hours. So we're open late on Tuesdays and Thursdays by David and Celia. Do I have, can I hear the, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm obviously opposed based on my
Okay.
comments, so thank you.
So that is a 4-1. And Jim is opposed. So motion passes. And like I said, we can look at it again, see how it's working. The scheduling might not work out for you guys. You might find out that it was better the other way, but but we'll be open to, anything that you suggest going forward. Okay. Resident fee waiver request. Twister.
I move to waive the resident fees recommended by management.
Second that. There are 2.
Can I ask that the next time they make a copy, we put it landscape, because I would need a magnifying glass for this.
Yes.
But what I can barely see looks like everything's fine.
No, this-
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Do I have a motion?
No, Jim made it. I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Sorry, I was squinting at my paper when you said that. Okay, now we move on to the discussion items. We have about 20 minutes.
I'm gonna suggest we jump to the 2023 election timeline and the advanced planning, because those are the ones that
Oh,
are.
I'm sorry.
That's fair.
And I was just told that, I was thinking you were gonna stop at 7:30, but we
We
have all
can.
the way till 8 o'clock.
No, we can stop early.
So just keep on. Okay, so we're gonna move to the election timeline.
Are we gonna skip any of those? We're gonna.
We'll come back.
Okay,
She just wants to make sure we cover
okay,
this.
I'm part of the committee. I'm a part of one of the committees, and I just want to make some comments on it.
All right. Election timeline, we got a.
So you've all received an updated version after some comments that I received from David, and then looking back further, we've adjusted the timeline So the call for candidates will go out in December. The election page will be live on the website on December 1st. It'll include the candidacy form. The standard article will be in the magazine regarding the call for candidates. January 4th is the deadline for candidacy submission. Then I will meet with the candidates between then and the candidate forum. The candidate forum is tentatively scheduled for the 23rd of January. January 26th, ballots will be mailed out. The polls will open on January 30th. The article in the magazine in February will be out about each candidate. March 1, the polls close, votes count, or not March 1, sorry,
February 28th.
February 28th, the polls close, votes counted, new directors are announced. March 1st would be the annual meeting, and March 3, the board organizational meeting. So that falls in line with your standard Tuesday poll close, Wednesday annual meeting, Friday organizational meeting.
In which we do have flexibility there, because it has always been that way. At one time, we had the organizational meeting after the annual meeting. I remember the reason, but
Well, that's what we usually do.
that night,
Oh,
the same night
Oh.
as the thing. Can I ask a question? Oh, just a comment. I didn't particularly like the way they used to do the forums where everybody answered the same question. And they kind of, started with David this time, then me and whatever, because a lot of the time the people have the same opinion or the same comment to make and it's repetitive. I didn't think that last year's went all that well. If you changed the format a little bit, and I thought that was kind of a disaster. So I would encourage some out of the box thinking how we might change it. So we get everybody's ideas on a topic, but maybe change the wording a little bit different. So it's not, you know what I'm trying to say?
We'll work on a proposed
Format,
format
yeah,
for
or
the
just, yeah.
forum, and we'll share that with the board.
Yeah.
Well,
And maybe,
they-
maybe it's a topic. So maybe the topic is amenities. So you ask David, what are your thoughts on any new amenities we might propose? And then the second question, the other person is, what do you feel about the amenities we have now? Then the third person has, you know what I'm saying? Get a topic and just get different and maybe allow, depending on time and how many candidates we have, maybe allow some other answers to the same question if somebody has a difference of opinion. That's just a.
Last year, were any board members part of the question?
Yes,
I don't know, because I
I
wasn't
wasn't.
privy to that.
What do you mean? I don't think so.
yes, there was one.
Was there?
Your
Okay.
sitting president then was
Okay.
involved in that process.
I think I would like that shared, as you go through the process, kind of keep us in the loop of what you're thinking, so we can just kind of maybe help you brainstorm a
All
little
that's
bit.
what they drafted up.
Without getting in the weeds or anything, but maybe,
So I remember,
having all of us been there.
I remember the first candidate forum I went to, I was sitting there and there were like 11 or 12 candidates. So to your point, ask a question and have all dozen people answer that question.
Yeah, you're right on things
So,
to
so
say.
something that happened during COVID, because we did not have a candidate forum that I would just ask to have considered, is candidates were given the opportunity to film I don't know what it was, a 3-minute video. And I remember when I ran for this board, at that point, I stood over against that wall and I had 3 minutes. Of course, the time, or whatever the time was, the time went like that. But that's a consideration that supplements candidate forum, just something to think about. That's not a board direction. That's just unless we want to give a
Another
board.
idea.
It's
Yeah,
an
because
idea.
Something we've talked about as the management team already.
So
Okay,
moving
good.
forward, the only people responsible for the questions and the format is management.
We will draft something and make a suggestion to the board as a whole, and you guys can provide it.
Do you have a committee? Oh, wait, am I supposed to say that word committee? Yeah, I can.
No.
A group of residents that are part of the committee, because
You
2
were.
or 3 years ago, I was part of a committee that worked with
I don't-
management on getting questions from the residents.
We can share.
Well, but we
Last
also,
year- Last year, we requested suggested questions from the residents and a bunch of them were emailed in. Those were included in some of the questions that were asked of the candidates. We can discuss if you want to do an advisory group for the election forum or not.
Yeah, we used to, we'd ask people to send in their questions. If they came to the meeting, we'd invite them to, write their questions down on a piece of paper, to get, more questions and stuff.
Here's a point of controversy from the past. Candidate forum is offered. Some candidates say, I will not come to a forum. So a refusal to participate. Some years it's been 2 forums. You must come to at least one. Otherwise you're disqualified. That's just a question of, do we have a requirement or is it an opportunity?
We used to have 3. One was on a Monday,
Right,
4.
right.
One was on a Monday, one was on a Tuesday, one was on a Wednesday, one was on a Thursday. So that way you tried to accommodate as many people showing up, in case somebody bowled on Mondays and, couldn't come or whatever. And then it also gave the candidates, if they had like an evening job or something, but it gave more. I'm not suggesting that we have more, I'm just saying. Because you want to get as much involvement as possible.
We see how many candidates we have too, that might inform how many forums.
That's
we
fair.
might need.
That's a good point.
Mr. Gary?
Gary Hudspeth, 1471 Russell Street. From the charter, the only requirement is that you be an owner and in good standing. You can't require them to be a part of any forum or anything else. You can't put any other restrictions that are not in the charter.
Thank you.
I would recommend that management stay out of the question issue.
Thank you.
What do you mean stay out of the question? You don't want to do forum? Is that what you're saying? You don't want to do forum?
I don't recommend that the management team have anything to do with setting the questions. That should come from the owners, the community.
Well, that's
what I was asking.
Well,
We
but
didn't
that's
have that
totally
room.
new. Yeah, I mean,
Last year, management didn't create any questions. We just got questions from the community that were proposed, and those were the ones that were, the most frequently asked ones were the ones that were chosen for the forum. Given the
That's fine.
time frame that was set out for the forum. We did not create any questions last year.
So they come from the community. And that's where they were when we worked together, Celia, 2 or 3 years ago.
well, you put your heads together and work out a plan. And then kind of let us know. But in the meantime, is this timeline okay to everybody? Do we
Yep.
need a formal approval on this since it's just a discussion item?
I don't think we need approval.
Okay.
A question, I don't know if this is a board action with the software that we do for the online voting. Is that within the budget limits or do we need to have a board
It's
approval
within
next
your,
month?
it's within our budget limit.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we've been using the same company for
That's-
years and years.
I recall sometimes we had to approve it
Oh,
at a board meeting, but if we don't need to, just want to make sure we have it.
it's only like 6,000, isn't it only like $6,000 some, the company that we use?
I don't even think it's that.
Yeah.
It's under the 5,000 threshold.
Okay, so.
That's good.
Lauren, did you want to move anything else around?
I would
Advanced planning, she said.
do advanced planning.
Okay, that would be you.
Yeah. So this is what we wanted to cover last time. It's looking ahead for the remainder term of this board, which is until early March. And what is it that we want to tackle? And I sent out a list of potential topics. And to add to these, I know that there may be some items we want to add, some items we want to delete. What do we want to prioritize within our limited time and breadth of numbers of us? So lot D, just to highlight these again, lot D, pickleball and parking. That sounds like that's on track. And it'll be probably each of our next board meetings. So I don't know that we need a workshop or any other discussion on that. Is that correct?
At this point.
Yeah.
Why did that?
The workshop on the technology committee was something that we had on our radar screen from a month ago, from last month, and I know that that's underway.
Yes, it was scheduled for the
Ian
day
got
of
in there.
Hurricane
No, Nicole got in our way.
So
So that's what I'd like to address if I could. So I'm part of the technology committee.
Oh, sure. I'm aiming for next week.
So we're looking for a meeting
Not next week, the week after.
week after next. So we're looking at the week after Thanksgiving to have a,
Oh, wait.
like a 90-minute
In
workshop.
here? In this building, the week after Thanksgiving? That's when to Wonderland.
We won't meet in any of these rooms,
Go to.
Okay.
but we'll find a location. So this is a scheduling discussion, not a content. Scheduling, be the week after Thanksgiving, somewhere, sometime. That's okay, so that's good.
David, you,
We can wait to the committee review if you want.
Yeah, because this is just a matter of not the content, but just what do we want to tackle?
Okay.
Is that fair?
Oh, yeah. I just did want to
Yeah.
ignore this. Jen.
We had talked about, I know Celia had raised 2 or 3, 4 months ago, a workshop on condo council. Is that alive or something we
Well,
need?
Cindy and I, have been, we met with one of the condo association, residents that's on a board. And we brought the resolution and we picked apart the resolution and made it to fit what the condo council really is. So I don't think we need a workshop. No,
No, the issue was that
the wording of the
yeah, it's
resolution.
not a task force,
It's
it's
not
not
a
a
committee.
committee, it's a council. So there was a lot of reference in the one that we had to the charter and blah, 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 blah. So we kind of tweaked it a little bit, because this is more, I know you don't like when I use this, but this is more like a club. It's a group of like-minded people getting together to talk about something they have in common.
So we don't need
No.
will there be any board action on that in the next 3 months?
Well, we would have to approve the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I made it as,
Okay.
there's general resolutions that you can make, so I
Okay.
typed a lot.
so we don't need a workshop.
No.
Don't need a work, okay?
Yeah, and then we can,
So there was also the communications advisory group. What did we call it? The evaluation group, implementation, and just whatever the status is of that. Is Janine heading that up still?
Janine is partly heading that up. I think it's been it was put on a temporary hiatus, but I think she's looking at ramping that back up again.
Okay, so no need for action or a workshop or set it, but it's just gonna move itself.
It's still on the
Management is
radar.
taking steps to implement some of the recommendations that are not a large cost or a cost difference from what our existing expenditure is, like switching from MailChimp to Klaviyo, which is what was one of the recommendations.
I mean, there was some major stuff in
Yeah.
that stuff. That's insulting, but major recommendations there, like with the website. And I know that's not a 1-month process.
Yeah.
As technology people know. The covenants process, we had talked about at one point as needing some special time. Do we need that now? Sometime in the next 3 months?
I don't think so, Gary.
What to expect.
Covenants process. Is there any?
We think we've solved the problem with the letters, so that's a fingers crossed.
Anything we,
We have a new management person coming in. Let's wait. and
Okay.
Get that settled.
so not to worry about that. The new resident welcome event, which is done in collaboration with the CCDD and the Celebration Foundation. We initiated that and then I passed the baton to
Right.
Celia and
We were looking at doing a presentation sometime in January.
would that be part of a board meeting or would it be
No, it'd be a separate event.
separate event?
where
Okay,
Invitations go out to, for instance, new homeowners from Island Village or residents that have been living here for umpteen years that just don't know how to navigate through Celebration and all the information that's out there. We need to set up a date.
would this be waiting for asking for feedback or is this the actual?
No, this will
rollout?
be the real,
This is the
the
rollout.
real thing.
You want a CROA board feedback session or not?
So,
No, would you?
You're in charge.
No? The answer's no, okay.
No, absolutely, we
No, I
can.
think so.
We can,
If you
how do
would
you think?
know what they don't know.
Yeah,
We're there to educate them, help them.
Yeah, but we can present, if you would like to see the presentation as a board, we can absolutely present and get feedback. You just need to let us know when you would like
You
that.
guys did a presentation to the foundation board, didn't you?
We already did that, yeah.
And you got some feedback there.
Excellent feedback.
Yeah.
And I
So-
think
It's-
my
yeah,
picture's all over that packet now, thanks.
It is. But it's up, if you would like, I can send it just to the board. If you guys would like to see the presentation,
Do you have a video of it or
I
just
just
the
have the slide.
The
Slides.
slides.
Or if as the board, you would like to come to our initial
Or both.
presentation in January.
So this is going to be it's going to be a one-time event.
It's gonna
No,
be
we're gonna do it monthly.
Oh, monthly,
It's
okay.
gonna be 1 month during the day, 1 month at night. So people that work can come at night, or people that work at night can come during the day. We're gonna make it flexible to the community.
And what if people want the information, but they don't want to come to a meeting?
Well, then they could go on the website and go on the welcome packet, and there's 17 pages of all the information that's out there to the community.
And the welcome thing was designed to be a brief overview and where to look for other information, not answer all the
Other
questions.
groups, partners in celebration,
How to get involved. and
how to
be
get
part of your
involved within the
community.
community.
Okay. So maybe sending that to the board and then and then just tell us when the first session is and I'm sure it'll evolve
Oh, I'm
over
sure
time.
there'll be a few hiccups the first day, but that's okay. That's how we learn.
Okay.
So,
Something that, this goes back to 3 or 4 years ago when we started, and this was with the prior management company, having metrics. So just having some time, we can talk about what would be the appropriate metrics for the management company.
Oh, yeah.
Just a discussion of what criteria. It's like if you're an employee, you have metrics or performance standards. What are the performance standards for a management company? Do we want to try to tackle that, or is that something that waits for the new board? I just pulled things out of old agendas that we've
Yeah.
never got to.
I'd be inclined to say maybe at this late date and with the holidays coming, unless you feel that there's an urgency attached to it, maybe wait to the new, well, of course, the new board won't know what to say.
No, and maybe, Roger,
Oh,
Other-
Roger Edwards is here with us, folks.
other, do you have what sort of metrics, or do you have metrics in other communities that that Grand Manners is held to by those communities? I mean, is that something that other communities have, metrics?
Yeah.
Are there
I
some
can
best
start with-
practices on metrics that we can start looking at?
Yeah, I can share that.
Why don't you share some of that and we can noodle it and not formally address it in the next few months with everything else that's going on?
Or we can,
Just-
depending on what we come up with. I mean, I'm sure that after a year, they would like some feedback. You know, so maybe with their help, if you could send us something and maybe we could do quicker, start with that one and then as time
Yeah.
goes on. fine tune it.
Because we had what was it, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, we contracted with University of Central Florida. They came in, they built some metrics, and those were helpful in a lot of different dimensions.
Yeah, I would recommend doing something sooner rather than later. It would be unfair to the new board to put that on their plate when they haven't worked with Grand Manners and all they really know is what they've seen on Facebook or heard from their neighbor or whatever. So I'd like us to be the ones to give you your first, evaluation.
Have you seen what UCF did? Have you seen that report from 3 or 4 years ago, Roger?
No, but I'm
Let me
curious.
try to dig that up and then see if I can find something from a year or so ago that when CCMC started to implement some of that. And I'll send that to you, Lauren, and the board.
We have a template started based on promises made in the presentation back in the day and also what's the services promised in the contract. That's usually the base.
Right.
And we build from there.
Right, okay. The next item, again, this goes back a year, civic corridor access to residents.
That's part of the Lot D project.
Okay,
Of the what project?
the Lot D.
Oh, Lot D.
Okay,
Like a spine.
recreation, I know this,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, David.
Yeah.
What do you mean part of the levy,
So as part of the Lot D project, the existing gate that's there is being moved back about 20 feet. And key card access will be used to open the gate during, whatever open hours that we have. So then the corridor, the soccer fields and the pickleball courts and whatever else gets put out there is open to residents. But
is that
secure.
past the
Has the
black
key.
gate that's up there now?
that black gate is moving back 20 feet
Okay. Further to what?
to make us, to give us the ability to put in a key card access, so then the gate will open when you swipe your
What if,
card.
and what if I'm on my bicycle and I'm not driving?
Still swipe your card.
I'm not worried about swiping my card. I'm worried about not swiping my card and going around the barrier.
There'll be a walking.
There's gonna be electric fence.
Exactly.
So we're actually going back to what we discussed. Oh,
We did have that idea, didn't we?
yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, okay, moving on.
The recreation RFP process, I think, is
It's completed for
Completed?
the,
for now.
for the 3 sports that were just issued.
And it's something that Cindy initiated, you had initiated a couple months ago, having us look at having different committees, and you've already talked about this on condo council, and it's going to be part of the technology committee discussion. What should the charge look like as we get into 2023? So each of the committees, like dog park and special event, what's appropriate for their charge for 23-4?
And, does what we're using now
Right.
fit the committee, or has it
Exactly.
morphed into something a little bit different? Do we want to add things? Do we want to take things away? Do we want to give them specific measurable goals in some instances? So I have asked each liaison to look
Right.
at their committees and kind of put some thoughts together and then work with the committee and kind of come to a consensus.
And
to do
the
that.
timeline on that would be before the end of February? Because that's when the new board kicks in, early March.
Well, yeah,
So
So
finish
that's
it,
good.
Well, I think it's usually at the first board meeting after the organizational meeting,
Exactly.
So
whatever.
that would give us all new resolutions.
Right.
for each
Exactly.
committee.
Yeah,
So they're-
we've
they're
got
basically-
plenty of time to
Them now.
they're basically ready to go. And then something that was brought up on our last board meeting when Greg Felak spoke, was the idea of a joint meeting about incorporation. So that's something for scheduling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he said he'd take
we've
care.
reached out to their legal advisor in terms of what's the time frame for when they want to schedule that, because we need to coordinate with the CROA board as well.
Okay. So we should update Paige on that. We have a CJC meeting on Friday afternoon,
It's on the CROA agenda.
but Canoa's right before that. Celia, you had something else, as I recall? There was something, and I said, bring it up here. Is that-
I think I discussed with Natalie about the playgrounds. They're gonna be.
Yes,
Playgrounds.
the playgrounds
Spring
are due
park.
for installation in December, right after the Thanksgiving holiday at Spring Park and Long Meadow.
So there's no need for a further discussion on that. Are there other, so this was what I had from old notes, just trying to distill this so that we have a sense of what's happening. The whole election piece was part of it, and we've dealt with that. Anything else that
Did
we,
we want to discuss the lakeside playground that we put on hold
Mhm.
or?
I mean, Bill wants to go and take a look at it with me and just see if,
I would say let's postpone that to
Postpone
December
it.
so we can do that
Okay.
walk.
I think half of it can be kept and the other half is definitely needs to go. I'm really convinced it all needs to go.
is there anything else that we're missing? Anyone from management that we should be talking about in the next 3 months? That was the intent of this, just so that we're not, that we kind of see what's coming in December, January, February, knowing that holidays are upon us.
Okay.
That's it. That's all.
All right. Excellent.
Thanks.
Can I go next?
No.
Please.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to do committee liaison reports? So this gentleman can
Oh, I'm
address his
sorry.
concerns.
Sure. Sir?
John Greenberg, 238 Longview. So I'm on the technology committee, and it's been a month now since our chair stepped down. We have no chair. We've had emails about scheduling our workshop, and I know that the with the hurricane and everything, but I'll tell you right now, the other committee members the morale is really bad right now. They're close to all stepping down. There's been no communication about next steps, appointing a new chair. I know the workshops about other things, I read Dave's email and stuff, but right now, nobody has a voice. Nobody knows direction. Jose's been amazing. Jose and I talk all the time. We get people on her, but just letting you know, the morale is really bad right now. And we need a chair. We need communication from the liaison and next steps and take care of stuff on workshop, which I understand is part of it too.
Well, in your agenda that hopefully we'll get next week, will cover all those things.
I
And
thought the agenda, I know I sent that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Not the agenda, the proposed content for the workshop.
did they see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technology committee was part of that, yeah.
I'm just letting you, because the communicating. with
Well, I don't know, because we just found out just now with you that she's hoping, because when we first tried to schedule it, it was
Yeah,
like,
I
this
know.
is not gonna work.
Well, we had it.
Laura's been good emailing back and forth. And again, Jose's been the main communication as far as everything, and just having lack of voice from the board to us. And with our previous chair, obviously, there was a lot more communication and stuff with the board itself. So
If you want to take a minute and send an email to the commission, since you're the liaison, send an email to the committee and just,
I can update them based on what.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're still trying to find a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's fine. I understand. I'm just letting you know the other members.
it's frustrating. I mean,
The only date that most people were available this week was Thursday, but that's covenants, which pulls Cindy, me from the discussion.
So at the workshop, a new chair will be.
hopefully,
Yeah, maybe, send our apologies and,
set it up. But how are you trying to set a date? Have you gotten dates for the week of the 20th? You're coming the week of the
I have
28th.
proposed dates that there's a draft sitting in my outbox
Okay.
right now.
Okay. So that's still,
Yes.
okay, I'll send a follow-on note.
anything else?
Yeah, we just have to move forward that week.
Yeah.
'Cause
Nobody
it's
likes
just-
to be left hanging.
It's stalled.
Yeah.
There's core issues.
No, I know, but we don't want to lose. I mean,
Absolutely.
we have a great
And thank you
technology
for
committee
sharing
this
that with
year.
us.
We have engineers from Apple, Disney. I mean, really good people, and it'd be a shame to lose everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for coming and sharing that with us and
Good.
sitting through the entire meeting just to say that. We appreciate it. Now, can I go?
Yes.
Okay. So this has been on the discussion for an item for the last several months. I want to talk just a little bit about the celebration news. So those of you who have been around for a while will recall that several years ago, management said that once we got a new communications person, and the board was told that the celebration news was losing money. I know that when I worked here, the celebration news netted about $30,000 a year. I have my suspicions as to what happened, why all of a sudden it wasn't making money. And I don't think, and it's nothing, backdoorish, but a key person was let go. I suspect that when that happened, the management team at the time wasn't aware that this person was sending out invoices and collecting money from people and, looking for more people to advertise and all that stuff. All that went away. So I think that's why it started losing money. But as you remember, I was an advocate for keeping the newspaper because I thought, well, if it is losing money, and since the town has grown significantly since that newspaper was put together, why not just expand the scope of the newspaper? The town has grown, more people know each other, start just like the old fashioned newspapers used to have, births, obituaries, so-and-so's getting married, so-and-so won this award here, and I wanted to expand it. The vote was 4-3, and I lost, but that's water under the bridge. The problem with, as I see it, with this magazine, the contract that we signed said that regardless of whether or not they made money or not, they would pay us $1,000 a month. In the 3 years that contract ran, and it expired already, we didn't get a dime. Not one thin dime.
So that's $36,000.
$1,000 a month, $12,000, yeah, $36,000. I made a comment when I first got on the board that it cost us money. And somebody on the board said, well, no, it didn't. I said, well, yes, it did, because we counted on that $36,000, that income coming in every year that we never got. So right now, we are still not getting any money. We are not under any type of contract with these people. The town, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe that this people, Liz sends a nice little email every month that says, hey, the deadline for publication is so and such. We send our articles into Liz. Do you edit them at all?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. You just send it over and you're done. Or you do a little bit more that maybe I'm
A
not
little
aware
bit more than that.
of? Okay, but a little bit more than that. Okay.
So do
But
you use management time to get this news?
Well, they're just a pass through. But I heard there was a time when Kevin was working on renegotiating with this magazine. And of course, I said, why would we want to renegotiate a deal with somebody who's already put it to us once? Okay. They're, touting, how many of them won awards, with our magazine. And what are we getting? What are we getting? And you can't, why would a company keep putting out a magazine that they weren't making money on? That's what they keep saying, yet they're winning awards for it. I'm not getting it. But anyway, the point of this is I would like Liz and staff to just kind of keep their ears open. I'm not suggesting that we actively go looking, because someone might argue, well, it's not costing us anything and they're publishing it, but it just seems to me that there could be a better deal out there. So I'm just suggesting that they just kind of keep Liz. I'm sure at some point you might get some vendor calling saying, hey, I see that you have a magazine. Well, we publish a magazine and here's the deal that we'd like to give you, kind of a thing.
So so it's not costing us anything for the magazine,
right?
And they're getting all that money for those advertisements.
Yeah.
But we're still using our management company time.
Yeah, but not the time that when we had the paper. Yeah, but when we had the paper, they actually edited it and somebody had to do the layout of it and the artwork and take it to, whatever. But I'm just asking that management and Liz, not to be necessarily proactive unless you feel there's a need for it. But just keep your ears open, see if you're contacted by anybody, or if you know of another publisher who might actually pay us for the content that they're using. I think that would be great.
Maybe they can deliver it on time.
There you go. Oh yeah, because we did have that issue, and some of the advertisers were quite angry because they were a couple of months ago. There was a huge fundraiser that was one of the first couple of days of the month, like say the 4th, and the magazine didn't get out until the 10th. So, they had hoped for 5,000-6,000 people to see that they were having this event, and by the time they got the magazine, it was too late. So just mental note, and that's all I wanted to say. I don't care if it's a magazine, I don't care if it's a newspaper, I don't care what it is, but just keep your ears open if you don't mind, please. Okay. So you can take me off the agenda.
Just a couple of quick thoughts. I think the quality of the magazine, I think the audience for our magazine is twofold. One, it's those who live here, and the other is those who don't. And so I think the quality of what we have and however it's produced is really an attribute for our community. I think your request to management to look for a good deal, and however that means as we rethink or start to think about staffing it, or who holds the, do we pay for printing and do we hire someone inside to do advertising, is part of that formula. This also may be something with whenever it's scheduled, usually February, March is the CAI meeting for Central Florida. So there may be vendors there as well as the other, and again, with Grand Manors, with other communities, and there may be some, if you will, cost savings if there was some bundling, like, Denver has it, and this place in Austin has it, and, same publisher. So just other things to be looking at. But I am just very proud of the quality of the magazine. I think that some of the relationship we have, the spread that we have with the foundation on different initiatives that are offered, from thriving to lifelong. The fact that the commissioners there, that we have the sheriff's office, we have CDD participating. I think there's a lot of opportunities for growth in content and breadth of content.
Well, if you notice, it's gotten skinnier and skinnier.
Right.
Huh? The magazine, yeah.
Right. So I think there's some opportunities, some historical look back, featuring some of our residents in there. I think there's some, and again, I know Gary's written a lot with the Covenants Committee, and then with the RFP process we had for the management company, a monthly article on that. I think there's a lot of quality there.
Do you know how much it costs to put an advertisement in that? How much it costs to put an advertisement in that magazine? A little half an inch by 3 inches, $600.
Really?
Yeah. And you just can't put a one-time advertisement.
So, yeah, and with this contract that is expired now, it's my understanding that actually that allegedly, that I don't understand how this is possible, allegedly that publisher is losing money.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. That is their excuse for not giving us the $1,000.
Allegedly.
Too bad.
But
so
I don't know
fair.
what the fact, I don't know what,
Well, no, I mean, anybody who runs a business.
I know.
If they came to us with that proposal and they couldn't live, then they're poor business people if they cut themselves short.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So.
But it's a good thing to keep,
Yeah.
good thing to keep on,
Not urgent, but just kind of floating.
keep your
around.
eyes open.
Yeah, okay. Where are we? Management update. Lauren, do you have anything else to say?
Effective the 21st, so Monday, we have a new community standards manager starting. She comes to us with community management experience and running the standards process from both governance and ARC perspective from start to finish. She goes out and takes pictures of the violations, writes the letters, sends the letters, works with the committee, sends out the responsive letters, the fine letters, everything, and processes all the ARC applications, everything for a large community. So she's got a wealth of experience. She's also a former social worker, so her soft skills should be good for this position. Andy Bowman in the back here is our new IT administrator. That's a position that's been vacant for a very long time, and we finally found the right fit, so we're very excited to have him on board. We are still down a maintenance tech that we are actively interviewing for, and we are down a fields coordinator that we are actively interviewing for. So getting close.
You hired a finance manager?
Oh, so sorry, finance manager. We're still looking for a finance manager.
I understand this ARC person is looking for a job that she won't be bored in. Oh, boy. Okay, great. Anything else? Natalie?
Just a lot of projects going on in the service areas with roof leaks due to Ian and Nicole. Playgrounds are coming in after Thanksgiving. They're currently working on a lot of pressure washing around the community, replacement of pavers. Just a lot going on still, getting things fixed up and cleaned up.
Thank you for having them do what they did at Founder's
You're
Park.
very welcome.
That was amazing, even though they couldn't.
Enjoy it.
there.
Brian and his team worked hard. Our vendor worked hard. Landscapers worked hard. So we wanted to put a lot of love into it.
Well, and I've been after Natalie to pat herself on the back more because they are doing a lot of things, but I don't know that everybody notices. But in my case, last week, I was sitting and I hear a power washer going. So of course I have to look out the window to see who's power washing what, because I'm nosy. And it was a vendor in Downey Park there. And they were power washing the sidewalk that goes around it. And they also power washed the pergola. And so I went into Tim, I says, hey, I said, we've lived here 8 years. Did you ever remember anybody power washing this sidewalk? He said, no. And I want to tell you, it's sparkle. I mean, the sidewalk is actually white. The pergola is actually white. It looks just beautiful. So they are doing things at the parks, but like I said, she doesn't pat herself, the team.
And Brian doesn't.
And Brian, yep.
Road.
So anyway.
So I mentioned this in, I guess it was the appeals meeting, but just for this board meeting, to go to the annual event at the Memorial Garden. Just a couple weekends ago. It's night and day what that place looks like. Night and day compared to last year. And I know I came back last year after that event on a Saturday morning, and it's like, I was embarrassed that CROA owned and maintained that property, and Grand Manners had barely started. Maybe it was that weekend you started. And, but to go this past time, it's just, and I need to send a thank you both to the management team and then to the garden club, because again, I know we approved that last year or last week with that funding for them and that relationship, that new, more formalized relationship. And I just think that's a good example of a great partnership that really helps beautify our community. So thanks to all who did that.
Yeah, that's something that probably should be added to your list, because we need to put a process for that.
Okay.
Remember, we were talking, you know.
And then we approve the relationship, but we don't have a process.
Right,
We
exactly.
have a soft process already kind of set out.
Okay.
With the other project with the tree planting. So I'll formalize that up for you guys.
Good.
All right, anything else management wise? Roger, thank you for joining us. This is Roger Edwards. He's Lauren's boss. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. Anything you want to share?
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Okay. You're always invited.
Still have Island Hill.
Well, and there was, anybody have a report from their committee? Anybody?
No.
No, okay.
No, the CCDD did not meet because they did not have a quorum.
Recreation didn't meet because Nicole,
Okay.
special events met, and, oh, I have something from special events. Founders night, that night was awesome, thank you. To the management, to Liz, the special events committee.
Are you talking about the entertainment?
The,
Oh, well, even the boat
everything,
thing.
everything.
I was more interested in the
That
boat.
big
house.
guy walking around, everything. It was an awesome night, thank you.
Yeah, it's great. My pleasure. All right, Island Village. Do we want to talk about that more?
So, I mean, we kind of addressed some of it at the beginning of the meeting during owner's comment. We're in varying processes with Mattamy and streetlights and Island Village in terms of the townhome turnover, the amenity turnover, and covenants and ARC processes out there. But just so it's kind of open and clear for everybody, and I know Cindy, you sent out something to the ARC and covenants chairs yesterday after some confusion, but so for the single family homes out in Island Village, they are paying their quarterly CROA dues to CROA. We are responsible for enforcing covenants and ARC out there. We've gotten plenty of ARC applications out there, some for gutters, some for fencing and various other issues. Screening, I believe, is another one. So we are actively processing those. Community covenants have been out there inspecting and has been sending letters, soft letters to those residents, not the formal covenants process, but just giving friendly reminders. Formal letters will start going out in January with the rest of the letters in the community. As far as the townhome turnovers, obviously we've accepted 7, 8, and 9. So those will start paying into the Island Village service area dues on a monthly basis. Those will start in December. We will schedule a meeting to meet with those residents who are impacted by that shortly. We are looking, we've got 6 other buildings, I believe, 5 or 6 other buildings that have been noticed to us that Mattamy is ready to turn over. We've done initial inspections with our engineering company, and on the covenant side, responses have gone back to Mattamy. We're waiting for them to tell us they're ready for reinspection, and then they'll be coming up on your upcoming agendas to accept moving forward. So hopefully we have things more of a understanding baseline with Mattamy now that we've gone through this first process with the first 3 townhomes. In terms of the amenity turnover, as was discussed in the beginning. We're still in discussions with Mattamy legally in terms of when that turnover will be completed. I know Tom has been in contact with their legal team recently about it. So as soon as there's an update, we'll share that. I know there's other amenities out there, but those have not been brought up to us for turnover. So we're just waiting on those.
And the art committee looked at the Highland Village property on Monday.
Oh, they did?
And
They're getting a letter. It's rather confusing
The lines, property lines.
because the property is laid out oddly on the site. And it becomes awkward if you do the fence. But they spent a good hour talking about that fence, so it's gotten a lot of evaluation. The letter was going out. I don't know when they get the letter, but I know
what
that
fence? What fence?
the property owner wants to put up a fence.
Oh, property, okay.
But it's a very, very awkward site and it's hard to make it all work.
You know how you have your normal setbacks
Mhm.
for ARC? The way the property lines on there are there on some of the homes. The formalized setbacks that we currently have now will not work with those homes on the way they're sitting on those lots.
So we've discussed this with Mark Jones from TCC, and Vaughn was out at Island Village with us and Mark and discussed kind of some options on how to address that moving forward. So it's really the covenants committee needs to kind of formalize those setback requirements in conjunction with TCC.
It is kind of new ground because
Yeah.
the stuff that was built in the original celebration, if this is my plot, the house would be square with the plot, but over there, they're twisted so that it gets narrower or wider. And it's not a direct, easy solution for things that people would like to do that they could do here, but in Island Village, it's not going to work quite so easily.
Well, there's similar issues with the gutter types and transitions, so.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
A lot of our I live in East Village, kind of sort of Pine Drive, and I know our neighbors are receiving multiple letters of the same thing over and over again, maybe within even the same month at the same time, regarding some kind of arc, something, covenant, something's wrong with their yard or whatever. Do we pay for every letter that's sent out? So if they send out 8 duplicate letters, or they?
No, that was a snafu, and Grand Matters picked up the cost of that. That wasn't on us.
And that's not art, that's covenants.
Okay, but we're not
No,
paying
no,
8 times for the same
no.
event?
The way I understand, they were sending it to a mailing house. And then when they didn't get an acknowledgement or they didn't go out, they would send them another request and another request and another request. And then when the mailing house finally decided to do it, all these are in the queues, they went boom, 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 and they all went out. So they're not using them anymore. We are deeper.
The printing and mailing in-house.
Yeah.
It's all coming
So
out.
we're not, yeah, and we didn't pay for any of that excess postage papers.
And I know there was like rumors going around that we get paid per violation
Yeah, no.
that we send out. That is not true.
Good, because that's going on a lot.
Yeah, it's not true.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's go see. Tons of parents talking about that.
It's also like, even like we're sending out violations, I know my next door neighbor about like a hedge. They sold the house, the new people bought it, they had to cut their hedge down. And then they get another letter saying the hedge grew. You gotta allow it to be, everything grows. You can't send out another letter every month because someone drove around in a little Nev and said that their hedge grew.
Well,
It's got to be trimmed to the correct height.
yeah.
I know, but the second it goes an inch above whatever the height was, you gotta give the
Yeah, but Bill,
gardener.
if a dot
to
of
cut
mold
it.
grows on somebody's house, you're not gonna give them a letter because there's a dot of mold. It's gonna accumulate the next day or two. It's gotta be some reasonable pieces to that.
You gotta give the gardener, they might come once a week if they, hedge once a week or once every other week, you gotta give them time for the thing to grow and then could knock it back down.
So to clarify, for all of us in celebration, we know that there's multiple entities. And I know that that's what the new resident orientation is designed to do. Who deals with what? We have the county, we have the CDD, and we have CROA. Now, with your description about Island Village. I would add to that confusion. I'm seeing 5 different scenarios. And what I think is critical, and this goes to an earlier point from one of these gentlemen about communication, I would suggest that we have, and maybe you already do this, and tell me if you do, regular communication just to Island Village residents, and that would include all owners and then the soon-to-be tenants, the apartment folks. We were told at our last meeting with Mattamy and the developer of the apartments that the first apartments would be occupied in September and the last apartments would be occupied next September. I'm hearing now that is not the case. It's January, not 2 or 3 months ago. But I see 5 different issues and it's confusing. But as I sit here and have been in many meetings from when Mattamy was first hired, we have townhomes, which then are part of service areas. And as those get turned over, we maintain as we do other service areas, something unique to Celebration. Second is we have the major amenity there, and we're going to see the same thing happen in phase 2 and plan phase 3, whatever the larger amenities are. So we right now have this glorious building with a beautiful landscaping and a fitness room. I mean, it looks, I haven't been inside, but I've looked through the gate. It looks beautiful. So that was supposed to be, they said it was ready to go in August. I don't know if it had certificate of occupancy and legal stuff, but that's on them to get ready. Third, there's future amenities, and those might be a little park. I think that one of them.
There's a couple of mews and there's a little playground as well.
And so we then have to evaluate those separate from the big amenity. There's the little ones that are coming in phase 1. And then fourth, there's the single family homes, which we don't maintain, but we monitor and make sure they're in compliance. And then there's apartments. So the apartment, the tenants, they are not owners, but they're residents. Again, some communication, I think that just articulates, here's the status of things. I mean, here are the facts. Not what your salesman told you, but here are the facts. And I would just be very aggressive with communication, very aggressive with being out there. And I think for the rest of the residents of Celebration, here's how we're managing this. This is a big new property. It's important for all of us that we manage it well and that we communicate well. And I think that's part of the issue you're hearing. Yeah, I know. But we can try to communicate well and tell the facts as we know them. Because I think misinformation and disinformation is not helpful.
Well, they probably feel abandoned too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean,
communication never hurts.
I mean, I can't take my dad down. I have to put her on a flatbed to get.
That's another point to that also is.
That's a law.
Imagine
Well,
if
no,
you
yeah,
handled
but
it.
we, as a community, we can go to the county and say, drop it 5 miles an hour so you can drive your Nev on.
Right.
Because you're now, I don't live in Island Village, but that community now can't drive their electric vehicles to downtown Celebration
They're
legally.
No.
So you have to fix that.
I can't go to spring. I can't
Okay, but
go.
you have to, I mean, but they're paying for amenities in Island Village that they can't drive their electric vehicle
That's right.
to in Celebration.
I was told.
So they're blocked off.
That's
So
right.
you have to fix that problem because they should be allowed to drive their electric vehicle.
I was told when I was buying
The
it.
county.
That's not.
Then as a community, we have to go to the county and say, we have to either find a carve out for that one road. So Island Village isn't separated from the rest of the town.
Done in the past.
We tried.
We tried.
Well,
Right.
Try again.
If you want to bring it up again, the
Bring it up.
CPDD meeting is the one to bring it up
Yeah.
at, because they have the relationship with the county.
Absolutely.
But
The less times we're gonna hold it.
I mean, but the thing is, people are paying for amenities in Island Village that they can't get to in their electric vehicle in Celebration.
That's right. And I can't get to the Island Village amenities.
Can't go to
in
Island
my
Village.
day.
They don't want you there, David.
Of course, well, that's another story.
No, you're welcome anytime.
Not in my net, I'm not. I
Okay,
go under the radar.
yes, Debbie?
Can we just, before you close?
Yes.
Bring up the fact that Fortune Yard sale is
Yes,
Saturday?
it is.
And not only that, but the building itself will be completely closed. So out of the discussion of like, you know, because if people were listening earlier and heard you say that it's gonna be closed, but not, you know, right now or whatever. But this weekend it will be closed.
What-
Porch and yard sale.
So town hall will be closed during the porch and yard sale to prevent the damage that occurred prior years. We do have porta potties, the nice ones that will be out there if people need to use the facilities, but town hall itself will be closed.
So that means no partnering programs or anything coming in here on Saturday. And
Were
they
they
will be,
notified?
they will be notified?
Nikki already coordinated all of that.
So, I know the last item is, board comments. It is 5 minutes after. Does anybody have anything that they will just
No.
explode if they don't get a chance to say it before our next meeting in December?
No.
Going once, going twice?
I want to say something. Of course you do. Of course I do.
Now I'm gonna get blamed for letting the meeting run long. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, thanks Liz and your team
My team.
for Founders, what do you call that? Founders Night? Yeah. Yeah. Entertainment was amazing. Everything was really great. Yeah. Thank you, Lauren. To you and your staff for all you do.
It's the whole team.
Always.
Team.
All
Yeah.
everybody, always.
Yeah, there's no
Well,
way-
Miss Amy wasn't there.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Jim, second,
Second.
Bill,
Second.
All in favor?
Second.
aye, okay. See you in December.